Action.
What is going on, people of the YouTube universe? If you can't tell what I'm doing, I'm thrusting my hips because I'm so excited for this. I am your fellow homosapien and fellow filmmaker, Dalen Xiong, and this is Intersection, the place where you and I can hone our filmmaking skills. Today, we're going to be talking about what makes a good film camera. Now, a good filmmaking camera isn't all about being able to shoot at 4K resolution or being able to shoot at 120 frames per second. Now, those things are great, but what I find to be more important is being able to manually control your ISO, set your white balance, and your shutter speed. At the same time, it's not all about the camera. If your camera's all the way up here and you're down here, it's not gonna work. But flip that around, and if you're up here and your camera's down here, you have a better chance of making creative and awesome looking shots. Also, these things I'm going to discuss can also be applied to photography. What is ISO? ISO is your camera sensor sensitivity to light. The higher the ISO, the brighter your image, but at the same time, you're risking more noise and grain. So as a rule of thumb, you want to keep it as low as possible. What is white balance? White balance tells your camera what white is in different colors of light. Now our eyes, I'm Asian, you can't see my eyes, but our eyes are great at determining what white is in different colors of light. But the camera suck at that. So you gotta tell it in this specific color temperature, which is measured in K for Kelvin. This is what white is. This is what white is. This is white power! So what white balance does is it affects the whole coloration of your image. So if you have the wrong white balance, your image might be looking a bit blue or a bit orange, and it doesn't look good. Well, you can use it stylistically. I think some people do it. But as a rule of thumb, you kind of want to have the right white balance so that it's easier to do post-coloration work. I don't know why my hands are like moving so much. What is shutter speed? Shutter speed is the amount of time that one frame is exposed in 1 second. Shutter speed controls the motion blur of your image. So as a rule of thumb, if you want the most natural look possible, your shutter speed should be double your frame rate. So if you're running 24 frames per second and your shutter speed is 50, each one of those 24 frames is being exposed 1/50th of a second. The higher the shutter speed, the less motion blur there's going to be. But the higher shutter speed comes a darker image. To compensate for that, you're gonna have to add in more lights, you're gonna have to bump up your ISO, or you're gonna have to open up the aperture on your lens. So let's do a recap. So the higher the ISO, the brighter the image, but at the same time, you risk any noise and grain. White balance controls the coloration of your image. So if you want an easier time doing color grading or color correction, set a proper white balance. Shutter speed controls motion blur. By now, you're probably asking, hey Dalen, how do I brighten up my image without adding more lights or bumping up my ISO because of noise and grain? Well, my fellow homo sapiens, that's a topic for the next video when we talk about lenses.
Cut.